Hello, angels and children of Lilith. I'm Mark Fauna, and today, in the second video of Ava Month, we'll be talking about the lore of Evangelion. I'm joined with my friend, PatRex11. I had recently introduced him to the show, and thought it would be fun to do a video on Ava with him.
Greetings, surfers of Fauna's channel, I'm PatRex11, and her peer pressure made me watch an anime that caused mental scars almost as bad as Slade in Teen Titans. Still, no regrets.
Now, we'll be talking about the story lore of Ava, but due to it being a long and complicated mess, Pat and I are going to point out major lore that happen, and point out some differences that happen in the rebuilds. So, let's start with the first ancestral race.
Australopithecus?
No, aliens.
Oh.
The first ancestral race is a race of godlike aliens that created life throughout the universe, planting one of two seeds on each planet, one containing Adam and his children the angels, and one containing Lilith and her children humanity and other biology like on Earth.
But why isn't Lilith called Eve, you may ask? Well, that's because in the Jewish Bible, Lilith was actually Adam's first wife, but left the Garden of Eden when she refused to sleep under him. So I guess Adam wasn't into cowgirl? Accounts vary as to whether she was a witch or a demon, but needless to say, our Lord and Saviour Anno doesn't seem to have that nice a view of humanity or its origins.
You only know about Lilith because of Wisecrack's Ava video, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, in the Evangelion universe, Adam's seed was the first to appear on Earth. But before Adam's seed could spread life, Lilith collided into the Earth, causing her Spear of Longinus to be destroyed, this being the first impact, and Adam to be made dormant by his own spear.
So after the first impact, Lilith released LCL, which seems to be the primordial Phanta which all life sprung from, and from that point everything just kinda happened same as in our world. Minus the odd mass extinction here and there, everything was nice. But then, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked, causing the second impact. Wait, no, it's the mysterious organization Seele doing an experiment on Adam, causing him to blow up. This killed about half of humanity in the explosion and massive tsunamis that followed it, eat your heart out Thanos, and screwed up Earth's axis, causing an eternal summer and turning the ocean's blood red. Oh, I'm sure this whole climate change thing is just fake news.
Killed in this accident is Masato's father, sealing her away from the blast. While she had barely survived, the trauma from the accident made her mute for 4 years. As she grew, the organization Gurren was formed, with Yui Ikari, the daft caricatures, and her father as the head of the organization. After the blast, Yui's teacher Fuyutsuki was doing research in the Arctic on the second impact cover-up, where he meets Yui's fiancé, Gendo Rakabungi. Christ, what a name.
Rokubunji? Didn't know Avatar Roku was into bungee jumping. Anyway, Rokubungi shows Fuyutsuki the Ava project, has Shinji with worst girl in any anime, and Yui has an accident involving a contact experiment. In reality, she was absorbed into the Ava so she could get some alone time after the third impact. And people say Gendo's screwed up. But speaking of good old Rokubungi, that'll never get old. He decided to create a half Yui, half angel clone with Lilith's soul called Rei, who spawns a bunch of clones of herself across anime, including better ones, Luffy Yuki Nagato, and takes care of her while abandoning his own son to his teacher.
So, here comes the biggest question in Ava. Who to feel worse for? Shinji or his teacher?
Definitely the teacher.
And next comes the main events of the Neon Genesis Evangelion series. Shinji is then called back to Nerve headquarters by Gendo after years. He is then told by his father, Masato, and Dr. Katsuragi to get in the fucking robot. But he refuses. That is until Gendo calls in a badly injured Rei to do it. After an angel causes the building to shake and Unit 1 to shield them from the rubble, he then gets in the robot and things get a lot weirder. After meeting Asuka Langley Soryu, or in the rebuilds, Asuka Langley Shikanami, and the first mainstream tsundere was born. During this meeting, Kaji brings the embryo of Adam and delivers it to Gendo, for him to swallow whole? Ugh. And I thought the beginning of End of Evangelion was gross.
I think Shinji sums both up better than we could. And speaking of Whiny-kun, he gets absorbed into the LCL in Unit 1 during a fight inside an angel and sees a vision of his mother. The Eva goes berserk again and Shinji's miraculously back. Shinji then almost kills his friend Toji in another berserk Eva due to his Violet taking control of Unit 1. Someone call Child Protective Services if they're still around after the apocalypse. Shinji refuses to get into the Eva again, but is eventually persuaded, only to get absorbed again when his sync rate goes too high. Man, deja vu.
While trapped in Unit 1's entry plug, Shinji almost dies, but instead is absorbed into the LCL and gets visions of his mother and all the women in his life wanting him to join with them. and mind, soul, and body. This is where the idea of the Human Instrumentality Project comes into play. After rejecting their offer, Shinji appears from the LCL and gets back to business. After Asuka is defeated several times, she goes to fight Ariel, when she is mind-fucked by a beam of light, contaminating her mind and Eva unit. Whilst in Asuka's mind, we learned about her past with her mother Kyoko Zeppelin Soryu. She too was subjected to a contact experiment, but she survived, leaving her mentally broken. She believed that a doll was her actual daughter and that Asuka was a strange little girl.
Is it weird that I find Ariel kinda kinky? Minus the whole traumatic flashback part.
Really?
I found my perfect husband though. Okay, second perfect besides Greed. Okay, Ariel's third behind Kaji.
No, Gazma will always be king!
Anyway, after more visits, Kyoko gets worse, but Asuka's chosen to be an Eva pilot. She goes to share the happy news with her mum, only to find her hanged with the doll. Luckily, Rei is forced to use the spear, or lance, of Longinus, humanity's most powerful weapon against the angels, to kill Ariel, freeing Asuka, but unluckily, Unit Zero's got a pretty strong arm, and it reaches orbit around the moon. Asuka becomes even more angry and distant as a result, basically going full Sun and dropping the dere. And I don't even have any wisecracks. It's one of the most horrific and gut-wrenching scenes in anime. At least till end of Eva.
Due to this, Asuka was so traumatized that she was admitted into Nerve's hospital, where she stays until end of Evangelion. Without a pilot for Unit 2, Nerve sends Karu Nagasa. It is noticed by Masato that he has a perfect sync ratio with Eva Unit 2, which even Asuka couldn't accomplish. This causes her to look more into him. Karu spends time with Shinji, getting to know him better and becoming Shinji's genuine friend, and having feelings of love he never felt for others. She spies on a meeting with Karu and Seele, Nerve's secret benefactors, after which Karu invades Nerve HQ.
Also, can I just say that Shinjiro is the best Eva ship? No incest subtext, no abusive subtext, no pedophilic subtext, just nice bonding and discussions of life and happiness with the slightly weird but still cute boy. I hope they're happy together. At least in the alternate reality where he doesn't reveal he's the last angel, control Unit 2, and goes down to Central Dogma to get down to Lilith, letting Shinji kill him to prevent the third impact. It kinda seems like Anno hates Shinji more than the fanbase does. Then come the last two episodes, where the animation budget went down the drain and nothing makes sense except to people in too deep in the series for their own good.
Let's mock you! The last two episodes don't really play into the lore, but still need to be talked about. Shinji and most of the main cast are isolated in a dark room with interpretations of how they view each other. Shinji is mostly the main focus though. He wishes for a world without pain, without fear or human interaction, but learns that is impossible. A world without pain is a world without emotion. Without pain and limitations in life, it makes it too unknown. Shinji learns that you don't need the approval of others to find genuine happiness. There may be pain and hurt, but it makes happiness even sweeter, and that escapism doesn't work and just makes you weaker in the long run. Learning this, Shinji accepts that he can be happy without the approval of others, that his life does have meaning, and that the world can be a better place. Now, I myself love this ending and find it to be the true ending of Eva. To be fair, the show is more so of a character study than a mecha show, but others saw it differently, hating it, sending Anno death threats, and going as far as to spray paint the word die on Gainax's headquarters. Hell, even Spike Spencer, the English voice actor for Shinji, didn't like the ending.
Oh, this is nice. This is the end. Okay. Where exactly am I? Here's the song. Oh, good. There's some things that are still unresolved here, guys. How do I get home? What do I eat? Was Rei my mom? Or a clone? Or hell, was this all in my mind? What's an Eva? Is that sort of a Freudian thing? Or, am I real? Oh, hell, does the bus run through here? I mean, I'd like to go home now, but, oh god, where's home? Okay. I mustn't run away. Okay, I got that. Good, okay. Now, if I were to run away, let's analyze that. Where the fuck would I go? I'm on a big blue ball. Is this how you end the series? I mean, is this where we go from here? Okay, the movie better sure as hell make up for this. I'm telling you right now, because I'm stuck in nowhere land. You ran out of ink too, didn't you bastards?
In response to all this criticism, Anno decided to make the movie End of Evangelion. Jesus wept. Now that the last angel has been destroyed, Seele backstabs Nerve and attempts to kill everyone inside, succeeding with most of the nameless staff and Misato. Shinji is still traumatized over killing Kaoru, so Asuka is awakened to pilot Unit 2 in her ultimate badass scene against Seele's mass-produced Evas. She manages to take them all out on limited power, only for them to recover and tear her to pieces once she runs out of charge. As if the mind rape wasn't horrible enough, Shinji gets out in Unit 1 too late to save her, looking upon the eviscerated Unit 2. Gendo starts his plan for instrumentality by fusing Adam's hand and Lilith's soul in Rei through touching her breast. However, Rei instead fuses with Lilith, rejecting Gendo and beginning the third impact by creating an anti-AT field along with the Evas becoming the Tree of Life. Rei asks Shinji what he wants, casually saying that if everyone hates him, they should die and causing instrumentality. People lose their individual shape and become LCL after visions of Rei become the people they loved most, like Fuyutsuki's being Yui, Maya's being Dr. Katsuragi, etc. The rest of the world slowly turns into a giant puddle of orange juice.
After this, Shinji sees copies of Rei inside of her body's LCL, laughing while surrounding Lilith's black moon. After seeing this, an inner monologue plays of female characters rejecting Shinji. A flash of red tinted and broken pictures from the show leads to a live-action scene. Rei discusses what pain is with Shinji, how people need to know pain to know that they are still around each other. So becoming one means you lose your humanity. Shinji says that although he will be hurt by others, he believes humanity has a chance, thus rejecting instrumentality. Lilith and Rei's bodies decompose as we cut to a flashback with Yui and Dr. Fuyutsuki. That makes me have murderous fantasies. She says that as long as there is a sign of humanity, even after the moon, earth, and sun are gone, the Eva is a sign of human accomplishment. Which is bullshit because she fucked up the sun, earth, and moon, even though she knows this. Repeating this over countless lifetimes. The film ends with Shinji waking up on the beach alone with Asuka after seeing a vision of Rei called Quantum Rei. He strangles her, only to stop when she strokes his face, breaking down sobbing.
I'll send Anno my therapy bills. Years later, he thought that maybe injecting some optimism into Eva would mean the fanbase wouldn't hate him so much. Or at least that's my interpretation, since he seems to be doing better with his depression these days, minus a breakdown after finishing the third film, which he did get over thanks to help from his wife, Hayao Miyazaki, and taking a break to make Shin Godzilla, and so made the rebuild of Evangelion. The first rebuild film is essentially a remake of the first 6 episodes of the anime, with a few differences, such as Misato knowing more than in the original series, most notably Lilith's existence, but not Seele's larger goals. Also, Rei being a more likeable character and actually growing more emotional over the course of the narrative without taking steps back in her development. 2.0 is also very similar, but Asuka seems more obvious in her attraction to Shinji, and there's a school trip to an aquarium where seawater and life is being preserved as it was before the second impact. It starts to diverge a lot more from the series when Rei tries to reconcile Shinji and Gendo over a dinner. Aww. Asuka's used as a test subject for Unit 3 instead of Toji, but the events of the test play out similarly as in the series. Unit 3 going berserk, Shinji refusing to kill it, and Gendo taking over with the dummy plug system. Mari, this new character who's there for some reason, that reason being fan service, takes over as Unit 2's pilot. How? Was she Asuka's mom's pen pal? And people say Rei in Star Wars is a Mary Sue.
But things go awry when Zero attacks, causing him to cancel, and infuriating Shinji, causing him to hide out with the other evacuating citizens. Meanwhile, Rei has had a difficult time trying to stop the angel, her body getting absorbed and fused with it. But then the Mary Sue with a good voice actor, aka Mari, shows up in Unit 2. But after having a disadvantage, she unlocks a super special, never before seen ability of Eva, Beast Mode. This causes Unit 2 to painfully release its restrictors, and it becomes a horrifying mixture of a machine and beast, becoming faster, stronger, and having the ability to tear through AT fields. But this still isn't enough. She lands on the shelter Shinji is hidden in, and explains the situation, causing him to go back and pilot Eva Unit 1. Things go similarly to the anime until Shinji wants to save Rei more than anything, and causes the Eva to go into God mode, and start a small impact called Third Impact. Shinji then reaches into the Angel's core to pull out Rei, but before he could cause the end of the world, Kaoru's Eva comes down from the moon and spears Unit 1 with the Spear of Cassius, claiming that this time he will bring Shinji happiness, thus confirming that the rebuilds are a continuation of Neon Genesis Evangelion. It's complicated.
Eva in a nutshell. A 14-year time skip then occurs with Rebuild 3, starting with Shinji waking up from a coma, finding out that Misato has set up the organization Wily with most of NERV's staff, Asuka and Mari, oh joy, to prevent further impacts as a rival to NERV. Obviously this third impact wasn't as catastrophic as in the original, but still pretty bad. Unit 1 is a power source for their ship, so they don't let Shinji fly. Rei attacks and takes Shinji to NERV since Misato was being too vague and hypocritical about everything, not to mention giving him an explosive collar to prevent him piloting the Eva. Lots of romantic piano playing and conversations with Kaoru ensue, as he shows Shinji the lovely view of a post-impact blood-red landscape and moon orbiting closer to Earth. It turns out the Rei who got Shinji is a new clone, so Shinji rejects her and Fuyutsuki explains what Yui did over a game of shogi with Shinji, try saying that 3 times fast, that she was absorbed into the Eva and that Rei is a partial clone of her. Wow! It's almost like explaining stuff to Shinji would make him trust you more, Gendo and Misato. Shinji and Kaoru descend into Central Dogma in Unit 13, where it turns out Lilith isn't doing so well. They attempt to retrieve the spears of Longinus and Cassius, but are interrupted by Asuka and Mari. A bunch of atoms are awakened after Unit 13 kills the 12th Angel, destroying Unit 6's core, and Unit 13 is awakened and enters God mode, beginning 4th impact by opening the doors of Guff and pulling out Lilith's Black Moon. Kaoru becomes an angel and is killed by taking Shinji's collar when Misato sets it off, preventing the impact. Somehow it's even sadder when he dies for Shinji, as opposed to being killed by him. Shinji himself is saved by Mari ejecting his plug along with Asuka and Rei, so the 3 end up on the surface, the film ending with them walking across the red wasteland to somewhere they can be rescued. Just when I thought End of Eva was as beautifully heartbreaking and hopeless as the series could get.
So that's the franchise for now, until Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 comes out, so that should do it for now.
But what about Eva Bridged?
Oh yeah, its first rebuild film if everyone was a moron.
But it had the biggest revelation of the franchise that had incredible impact on the lore for decades to come. The origin of NERV's name. Plus it had some next level foreshadowing for Anno's work on Shin Godzilla with Rokubungi's long-running rivalry and fear.
We will try this one last time. What do you see here?
It's Godzilla!
Incorrect!
It's Godzilla!
Incorrect!
It's Godzilla!
Incorrect!
Your mom?
Anyway, thanks for having me over for discussing our favourite jumbled mess of an anime fauna, even if it's only the second best mecha show.
Anytime, Pat, but second best.
Gurren Lagann.
Blasphemy!
I'm Parex Irvin, thank you for watching, and pray for me not to end up on Christmas Deer's kill list.
I hope you enjoyed, and remember, stay human, fellow Lilin. Now get back here!